Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hot Path Show, episode 55. I am Johnny, joined by Danny, who is frozen. We were just sorting out some connection issues, and then finally, Danny's connection got stable. And then we're like, all right, we ready to go? Should we do this live? And then he's like, oh, wait, no, my computer's about to restart. And then now you see him frozen right there. So he's going to come back to a nice little surprise that we're just live here. So welcome in, everybody, to the Hot Path Show. Excited to have you all on here today. We have a bunch of things to talk about. It's been quite a while since we've done an episode of the Hot Path Show. In fact, just like a proper episode of the Hot Path Show where, chatting with Danny and Tobias and whoever, because the last couple have been with some other guests, which have been fun and exciting. But yeah, recently there's been a bunch of new cool dots announcements. So wanted to talk about these things here with you all today, and excited to have everybody in here. Looks like we have a nice little chat here going. And yeah, what new features? I guess we can give you a little preview about some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So yeah, so there is kind of this new Unity Lite version. I just want to talk about that a little bit. It's kind of like the web only version. But yeah, Danny just sent me a message. Looks like he's got some Windows updates going on right now. That is hilarious. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that because I thought it was a little bit of an interesting thing going on. Yep, Wayne Games, you called it. We're going to be talking about some of the remote content management stuff. I just saw this the other day. I haven't really had a chance to look into it much. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. Hopefully Danny has some cool things to say about that. Did also see recently there's been this new jobs profiler package, which can give you a little bit more insight into some of your job dependencies and how long your jobs take to run and everything like that. So that'll be exciting. And so, yeah, since we last went live, we actually have had 2 new versions to the entities package. Not a ton of crazy exciting things in there, except for one thing. There was one thing in there. Maybe I'll leave that on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but Danny was very excited about this. He messaged me a little while ago. He said, hey, got something coming in one of the future ECS updates. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but when it's live, we'll do a new episode of the Hot Path Show. So that feature is now live, and yeah, he's going to be talking into doing a little bit of a deep dive into that. Yeah, I mean, I guess while he's sorting out his Windows updates issues, I can kind of talk about a couple other announcements here. So let me see if I can share my screen here. All right. So wanted to remind you all that next week is Unity's Unite conference. They're kind of like annual Unity specific conference. Unfortunately, I will not be there in person this year. I don't think Danny is going to be there either, but we can chat with him when he gets back. And so, yeah, there's going to be like a kind of a keynote and then some other talks. So really looking forward to the keynote. I don't know if there's going to be any like ECS or DOTS specific things in there. As I was just kind of like doing a quick scroll through of what some of the like talks and things were, it didn't look like there was a lot of DOTS stuff. And yep, looks like it is going to be in Barcelona this year again, like it was last year. So was a nice place to have it for sure. And yeah, Simon, too bad. It's always good to see you at those events, but yeah, unfortunately can't make it out. I was gonna try to, but because like Thanksgiving is like shortly after this, and like flight tickets were extremely expensive. Welcome. Hello, we're live.
Thank you. I don't know what has been said so far. I just know that we decided to do a restart as soon as we go live.
That was amazing. I was like, all right, you ready to go live? And then you're like, yeah. Oh wait, no, it's restarting. So I started the stream with you like frozen.
No. I mean, it literally just started working the connection, and then my computer decided to do a restart. That is very unfortunate, I feel like.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
So yeah, I was just giving people a little preview about some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, and so I guess you don't have any idea what we're going to be talking about today, so you'll
Nope.
figure it out as we go. Was
Yep.
just getting into some kind of miscellaneous announcements, so just wanted to mention that Unite is happening next week. So are you going to be there this time?
Unfortunately not. This is the first time I haven't gone to Unite. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been to, yeah, I mean, I've been to pretty much all the Unites since, was it 2022 or 21 was when they did, I think, yeah, I don't know, something like that.
So yeah, right after Corona,
Yeah,
COVID, they started doing them again in like each office.
right.
That's the
Yeah,
first
that
one
was that was the
I
first
was
one
in.
I did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, I was in Amsterdam, and then
Yeah, Barcelona last year, Barcelona this
exactly.
year, yeah. So yeah, do you know if there's going to be any like DOTS or ECS specific talks? It didn't look like it when I kind of did a scroll through the schedule,
I know
but
there's gonna be one,
okay,
job system, multi-threading, sort of that sort of thing.
cool. Sounds good to me. Do you know who's giving that talk?
I don't know if I can what I can say.
Okay.
It has to be announced on the website for me to be
Oh,
able to
okay.
do it.
Fair
Right.
enough. Fair enough. And then, so yeah, what were the DOTS things that they're going to be talking about in the keynote again?
Ha ha ha! You don't get me. I'm not gonna say anything. So, yep, nope.
All right. Well, yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, if there's any exciting DOTS stuff, I'll probably do a video on that. So let's see what else is going on here. So the Unity Asset Store next week, they start their Black Friday sale. So a bunch of cool things in there. So there's the Rukonka ECS animations. So there's like the version 2 of it. So it's going to be available for 50% off. I've been experimenting around with it a little bit more. It is a lot of really cool features in that. Also, Behavior Designer Pro. I had Justin on here on the last episode of the Hot Path show. So that one is on sale as well. And I have been playing around with that. Actually integrated that into my game/asset.survivors, which, by the way, is also on here somewhere, available for 50% off. Let's see, somewhere, I don't know, maybe I scrolled past it. Oh, here it is. So yeah, my asset.survivors. I did do some integrations with the Behavior Designer Pro and a couple other things. So actually, so recently, so I have this whole like documentation site that goes along with .survivors, and most of it is kind of locked down to people who have purchased the asset. But I did set up a preview site, and you can just get there at survivors.tmg.dev/preview. I have some links to that like on the asset store page if you just want to get to that easily. And then so this kind of like gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the pages of like some things that you can learn. So like if you want to go into like the character movement, so this page is kind of all available. I just saw this like for some reason these videos like aren't shown in the embedded on the preview site, but oh well. And then so there's also this integrations tab, and so this is all publicly viewable as well. And so this goes into the different integrations I did. So Steam integrations, so just kind of like connecting steamworks.net, adding in some achievements, stats, cloud saves, things like that. This actually isn't any ECS specific stuff. It's just all kind of general Steam stuff. But Behavior Designer Pro, this one, I kind of like go into how I integrated this asset. I created a couple new enemy types. So there's this one that kind of like moves towards the player and then kind of stops, flashes for a little bit, explodes, deals some damage. I showcase kind of like the little behavior tree like that. And then there's like another one that shows like this guy kind of like follows the player, moves a little closer, shoots shots at it. And same thing, kind of a little behavior tree setup. So if you're interested in how that is all set up, feel free to browse around on that integrations page. And yeah, check out the Dot Survivors asset. Let's see. Also, real quickly, wanted to mention that I did a talk for the JetBrains Game Dev Day conference. Danny, it sounded like, was there like a little Unity watch party going on for this conference?
Yeah.
Nice.
We were doing like a what's it called? Like at the Copenhagen office, we have this thing called like Unity. I don't know what we call meetups. I guess it's just called Unity meetups, where people can come in and they can sort of see some cool stuff from one of us. And this time we just like decided to do a JetBrains watch party. Because every now and again we will do like a game dev night where people can just come in and work on their projects and like talk with like-minded people. And it just so happened that fell on the same day that the JetBrains watch party was there, so we decided to stream that at the same time. So I did actually watch this talk, and so did
Nice.
a person from Netcode who was like, "Yep, this is good. This is yep."
Nice. Was that Jonathan? He reached out to me on Slack, sent me a message.
Yes, yeah, that was Jonathan.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, check out that if you want to. It's again a little introduction into Netcode for Entities, just kind of going into like some of the features and cool things that are you can do with that there. So yeah, that's kind of what I had for some of the little miscellaneous announcements. And by the way, Mr. Awesome, appreciate the super chat here. Danny Dots. And yeah, we're funding the Dots team here over at Turbo Makes Games. So let's see, are you using a custom stat solution or one of the public libraries? Was this about the Steam stuff? That was basically all through steamworks.net. And so it has all the stats and achievements tracking through there. Use Writer at my new job. Nice. Writer is awesome. And yes, Unity most definitely did not abandon dots. There are lots of cool things with dots coming. Hopefully getting it more integrated in the editor very soon here. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some more info on what is all going on with that. But yeah, let's talk about just kind of some other Unity topics. One of the things that I wanted to just briefly mention, because I thought this was kind of a cool thing, is this Unity Studio, the kind of like web interface for using Unity. Have you seen this much at all? Played around with it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, what's your experience been?
Yeah. I mean, it's a tool. I think it's interesting that people can use sort of a kind of version of an idea of Unity in the browser.
Yeah, it seems the way that they're kind of positioning it is more geared towards kind of like the industrial type thing where, maybe you really just kind of need to, create some like simple little interactions and want to be able to like build these things out quickly. This talks about like building 3D training apps. And so it's like, you're not creating any like crazy new innovative gameplay or anything, but it's just like, hey, let's just do this to get people, provide a cheap way to set up a little like training exercise, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what you look at this product as. If it is a like what's it called, like a version of the editor inside the browser, then that's not really true. But if it's seen as like a really cool version of Scratch that can do 3D and you can like make it work for industry and you can like make a bunch of trials and stuff like that, it's such a cool tool for that purpose.
Yeah, for sure. So
and like a big part of it is also the fact that you can like once you've created a project inside of it, you can just share a link, and so you can like it's very easy to share projects with each other from in there, and you can sort of see the Scratch workflow
Yeah. So it is kind of like a visual coding interface, and it does look similar to Scratch, how they're almost little like puzzle pieces that you kind of
Yes.
connect with each other. Um, just kind of like scrolling through any of these videos here to see if there's anything kind of interesting going on. Yeah, so seems interesting. I was just thought it was funny that like when they kind of announced this like lighter version of Unity, I was just like just brought back like thoughts of Project Tiny.
Yep. No, and it definitely had internally that thought as well.
Yeah, Project Tiny, cool initiative, but unfortunately did not really see the light of day here. Yeah, this is a good question. Can you like build something out in this web interface and open it up in regular Unity?
No.
Okay, so it's like
Yeah,
it's
and
really its
that's
own
actually my
separate
main problem
thing.
with this. It is very much a like it is sort of funny because this tool is made with Unity. If that's
So they like deploy like a WebGL
yeah,
version of their app or something.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny.
No, but I mean, it's pretty cool that you can like build stuff in there and you can share it among other people and you can like. I think it's probably a really good learning platform. Like to who was it?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna
like
say.
Wayne's point, like introducing it to kids. It's probably really good for that. Um, which is something I haven't thought of when I first heard about the product
Yeah,
internally.
because like looking at the interface, like it's got a hierarchy and an inspector, and these are like pretty similar to what they look like in just regular Unity. So like if you can kind of understand how things work in here, you might be a little bit familiar with the like kind of regular Unity interface and workflow.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that's all I kind of had to say on that. Also, did want to bring up that Unity is going to be increasing their pricing a little bit for the Pro model, or the Pro version of their editor. So it sounded like it was like a 5% increase. I get it. You guys, you got to pay Danny his massive salary, so. um, so yeah, it's looking like if you pay it yearly, it's $2,310, which is fairly expensive, especially if like you're not making this 200K, but you still want to publish to consoles and Apple Vision Pro, things like that. But that is the price you got to pay for it now. The one thing that I did really want to talk about that is really interesting is Havoc physics for Unity, because this is one of the features that was built in, or like it was kind of like one of the features that came with your Pro subscription for Unity. And so yeah, this is basically kind of like no longer included that. So yeah, this says is Havoc physics for Unity still included with the Pro and Enterprise seats? And it says Unity will no longer offer entitlement nor first-party support for Havoc physics for Unity, starting with Unity 6.3 LTS. And then so this says starting with Unity 6.3, the Microsoft Havoc team can continue to offer an integration of Havoc physics for Unity as a regular third-party extension publisher. From that point onwards, requests regarding availability, roadmap, pricing, and support for Havoc physics for Unity should be directed to the Microsoft Havoc team. So yeah, I thought this was really interesting. I assume this is just kind of like mostly like business agreements expiring or whatever, but yeah. So yeah, it is interesting. Like again, it's kind of sounds like it's all up to Microsoft's hands for if they want to continue supporting it for Unity. Had you heard anything like from Microsoft at all? I guess
I don't know
publicly.
anything from. I only know internal discussions that I obviously can't disclose.
Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. It's kind of funny because like Havoc physics was the thing that kind of like got me into dots in the first place, because I was like, oh, like Havoc physics, like this is like kind of interesting. I've heard of it, but then I was like, oh, you have to like use this whole like dots thing to integrate
Oh,
it. And it's like, so that's kind of like what, yeah, got me down kind of this rabbit hole of this, even though like I haven't really used Havoc physics for anything really
oh, interesting.
meaningful. But yeah.
I mean, okay, so someone asking why you would use Havoc over dots physics. I mean, there's a few reasons. Um, one of which is that Havoc is like seen as the industry standard in a way for like big AAA games, and the reason for it is it's known for very stable simulation. I think it's I can't remember if it's stateless completely.
I thought it was a stateful. Like that was kind of the
Yeah,
main difference between that and dots physics.
yeah, that might be true. But I know that one of the things that it's also really good at it is it has a lot of debug tools. Like you can do like active replay and stuff like that, and like have a little separate window where you can just view the physics state and like the colliders, which you can't really do with dots physics. But otherwise, dots physics is perfect, and also it's very nice to work with because it's stateless.
Yeah, I've had a really good experience with dots physics, so I haven't really had much of a need to, you know, go too deep into the Havoc physics things. But yeah, that is just something that I wanted to point out because I know there are some people in the Turbo Makes Games community and all that who do use Havoc physics. So definitely that's something to call out there. Daniel, we'll be sure to get you paid up for your $2 here.
Christmas is looking good.
We appreciate the support, though. That's awesome. Yeah, anything else to say on Havoc physics?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some more dot stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about this new jobs profiler. I guess it's been out for a little while, but yeah, it is currently an experimental package, something that you can add into the Unity profiler, and it pretty much gives you like a separate like timeline view. Let me see. I think this picture might be a little bit better. But yeah, there's like a new option in kind of your timeline drop down where you have this like new timeline experimental. Actually, that doesn't really give much views of what you get here, but yeah, it looks like you kind of have these different arrows that sort of track your job dependencies and kind of have some more metrics about your job scheduling and all that. So yeah, how much have you played around with this jobs profiler, and what have you found cool about it so far?
I mean, I actually haven't tried playing around with it yet. But I've only the people who have, I've only heard good things about it. I also know the guy that's working on it, and he seems to really know his stuff, and he's constantly working on new stuff for it. That seems really cool and practical.
Yeah.
So no, I really need to play with it. I'm really excited to try it. I just haven't had a thing where I need it yet, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, I was yeah, because a lot of times, like in my projects, I only have like a fairly small amount of jobs, and it's like pretty easy for me to kind of like manage the dependencies on my own between that stuff. But yeah, if there is projects where like there's a lot of jobs happening, I think something like this would be extremely useful. And by the way, it looks like Git Ahmed did a profiler vid, and yeah,
nice.
maybe included some stuff on that as well. So yeah, we can see. And it looks like Wayne Games use it to understand how dots physics works job dependency. That makes sense because yeah, I know the kind of like built-in dots packages and stuff use jobs fairly heavily, and so like yeah, how does that integrate with some of your own job dependencies as well as kind of stuff internal to the different packages as well. So yeah, I think it's cool to just give you like more insight into the project. Yeah, so let me see if there's anything interesting, just kind of clicking around here in the documentation. So yeah, this just kind of shows how to enable it. So you'll just kind of install it through the package manager, open your profiler window, and select the CPU usage profiler module. And then, yeah, in the timeline drop down is that new timeline. You can capture data, select the target player. Okay, so this is, yeah, if you're like connecting the profiler to another instance running the game, I would suppose. And yeah, just kind of record it as normal. So this says viewing data. When you select a job, the job's profiler adds lines to the timeline view, which display the relationships between the jobs as follows. So purple lines are when and where a job has been scheduled. Yellow lines are job dependencies. Red lines are when a job is waiting and hasn't been completed. And a green line is when a job is waiting and has been completed. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's really cool. I think that's all good information of some things that I would want to see. Because yeah, sometimes like, you can kind of see when things are waiting, but you got to kind of like, scroll up and down and kind of like infer this yourself when you see like, okay, there's that section where this is waiting, but I think this is like going to be a lot more clear about, yeah, giving you lines. And like seeing, a big red line, you'd be like, oh, like that's, an area that I can like quickly hone in on and see like immediately that there is an issue there. And jobs profiler reference. Yeah, I saw this page earlier. I think this is just a lot of more of kind of like some specifics about some of the different things that you can see. Oh yeah, so this is, I think, kind of down towards the bottom, there's this like jobs list panel. So this shows the name of the job, the number of times the job was called during the frame, minimum, maximum, average times, start times, minimum, maximum, and average, as well as wait times, minimum, maximum, average. So yeah, that again is a lot of really good information that I would want to see. Any other thoughts on the jobs profiler there?
I mean, no. I mean, I really want to try it just because it's really nice to be able to actually tell what depends on what and like understand. Oh, this big red line. Hey, maybe I should
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things you can kind of like, again, guess and infer when these things are happening, but like seeing that, like, okay, this is what the engine is like actually interpreting these job dependencies to be. I think that is a lot more useful than just kind of like crafting, like theory crafting in your head about like what could be happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also especially for things like what ITI was mentioning with the physics, understanding. Was it
That was Wayne.
Wayne? Yeah, Wayne. Because like I remember having to help people out figuring why their jobs, why things were running slow, and why they were just waiting for jobs, and why physics was taking up so long. And that was all because they had depended on a previous frame's job from the next frame's job, so it was kind of just like I think in reverse order. But yeah, they were like effectively saying, "Hey, I need to complete later. I'm waiting on the next frame to do this thing," and then yeah. So I think this would definitely help seeing. Oh, actually, I have this thing that's like run way at the end that's completing way too. Yeah,
going across frame bounds and stuff too, and yeah.
By
the way, SCITR. My game is GPU bound, so I don't have an excuse to use the CPU profile right now.
Damn it. Either you need to write better GPU code, or you need to write worse CPU code, and then that's solved.
And actually, this kind of reminds me, real quickly, I want to go back and talk about the some of the other dot survivors integrations that I have. So one of these is called the ECS order graph. So this is an asset that is available on the asset store. So I'll just pull this up on the actual asset store here. And so the idea here is that it kind of gives you a visual interface for when you put the little attributes for, update in group, order before, order after,
Right.
that. So this gives you like a visual interface to like see all that stuff. And then you can kind of like drag like little nodes and stuff kind of between the two. And so I was testing this out in my project Survivors, and I thought it did like a good job of kind of like highlighting issues with my system ordering, because like I was kind of going through it and I was like, oh shoot, like I forgot to, add this to this group, or like this is supposed to go before this thing. And so there were like
Right.
little things in there that like it kind of highlighted that there were some like issues with my order graphing. So it's like it's kind of interesting, is like the purpose of the asset is like to be able to like easily drag these things around, and it kind of like puts those attributes above your systems for you. But also, like, because I had it kind of like built out the project um, pretty fully for the most part. And um, yeah, so like I had already kind of like added some of those different attributes and things in there, so I was like able to see if there were any issues with any of that grouping and ordering and stuff. And so yeah, I'll just go ahead and post this link in the chat here if people want to go ahead and check that out. Okay, so moving right along. So this is something that like I just saw came through like like basically yesterday. So I have really not had much of a chance to look at this at all. I don't know if you have either, but so in the like Dots, basically like the entities team puts out these like ECS samples, and I think they're like really good for learning some of the different concepts of ECS. There's like some physics specific ones. There's ones that are related to like scene streaming and things like that. So this is a new one that came out called the content management. And so I think that, yeah, the idea here is that it kind of walks you through to how to remotely deploy content to your game built with ECS. Have you seen anything on this sample project at all?
No, I've only heard about it. I haven't tried it, no.
Okay, yeah. Again, I like just saw this yesterday, so
Yeah.
this is kind of hot off the press here. But yeah, it's a new sample to play around with, and it actually is like pretty detailed. Here, I'll drop the link in chat for this as well. But yeah, if we scroll through, I mean, there's like kind of a lot of stuff going on here. So yeah, you do need to be on Unity version 6. And yeah, so this talks about, yeah, these are like all the sections in this documentation. So you can see there's like kind of a lot of things to it. Some scripting defined symbols that you need to add, strong versus weak references. It kind of goes over weakly referencing an object, weak reference object, untype weak reference ID, weakly referencing a scene. Talk about some of the behavior in the Unity editor, weak scene references, how you actually build the proper player, steps to load remote subscenes, build content catalog, weak scene references, again, building for remote, downloading and loading these scenes at runtime, streaming asset paths,
Yep.
serving catalog from web server. Yeah. Is there anything in there that kind of jumps out to you at all?
I mean, not really. I mean, I think the cool part of this is just it answers a lot of questions for people, I would imagine, on like how do I make a say I have a live service game and I want to add this new cosmetic or new level in a game live and load that directly from like my own server. How do I do that? Well, you can use the content management system, have the just build the content bundle and then store that on your server, and then you just need to access that from your game.
Right.
And this should hopefully help you do that, and also
Yeah.
how to do other similar streaming locally.
And so this is like separate than addressables, basically, right?
Yes, correct. This is similar to how addressables work. It's built on asset bundles, to my understanding, at least.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, addressables, but not.
Yes. Yeah. It's exactly what Simon also said.
Oh, we both clicked it. Addressables are dead. Long live addressables. Use the level streaming sample and mix with your dot survivors to build a runtime terrain and load it into dots physics. Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, this is certainly sounds interesting. I think yeah, if you're making any kind of live service game or something where you might want to have like maybe like daily challenges or something like that, like I think this would be a good option for kind of deploying content in here. And yeah, it looks like they put a whole ton of effort into building out a lot of good documentation on this. So yeah, that is super cool. Okay, and now we get into some of the new entities features here.
Yeah.
So yeah, since we did an episode last, there's actually been 2 new updates to the entities package, and I was telling people when your computer was restarting that you had kind of messaged me and you're like, hey, there's something really cool coming up in entities. I can't tell you what it is, but when it's live, we're going to do an episode of the Hot Pass show. And then this version came out, and then I was like, is it in here? You're like, no, that's not the one. So it's in this one, because there's not a whole lot in this 142 version. So this has what this is like, yeah, something with yeah, just kind of like some UI setting their equivalent size in pixels here. Fixed incorrect source generation for system base if you declared it as instances declared as public partial. Oh, interesting. And then you have a fix to system API inside an entities for each that also uses with deferred playback system. Yeah, kind of a niche case there. Fixed a memory leak during world serialization. That's good. Fixed inspector not initializing when exiting play mode and entity selected. Yeah, I think I've seen kind of like some errors if you have like an entity selected and you exit play mode, but glad that is working. So yeah, version 143. Yeah, we're going to be talking about this one in depth here, so I'll skip over this for now. But yeah, changed compiled source generation DLLs with deterministic flag, updated your burst dependency. This one I thought was really good. Debug breakpoints on system API methods with leading white spaces or comments can now be hit. I suppose there was just some weird issue with that. I know I've definitely had some issues with getting breakpoints to actually hit, and it seems like I actually just saw a thread in our Discord the other day about some people saying like, hey, I put a breakpoint here, but it's not hitting. Like, is there something I'm doing wrong?
I'm pretty sure I fixed everything with that commit right there. So
you better have.
I think I did, because I haven't seen any reports since that one. At least,
Okay.
like at least we got a bunch of tickets submitted to us that was all like fixed by the same PR that I did, which is that changelog. So it should be good. It should.
Yeah.
Crossing fingers. But it also happens that the thing that fixed that is also what broke the other line with the public partial system base.
Oh, okay. So now, you know how like in Rider, if you have your debugger connected and you hit a breakpoint, and then it like will show a check mark or like the little no entry sign, like if that breakpoint like sticks. I don't know if there's like a proper terminology for that, but do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that?
That the breakpoint sticks? What do you?
Here, let me see if I can just like open up a project real quick. But yeah, this is like happened to me kind of a lot where like I'll basically put in a breakpoint and then it'll like put a check mark to it, like if that breakpoint is like a
Right.
good breakpoint.
Mm.
Or sometimes it'll put like the little, like no entry sign, and then like that one
Yeah.
is like not gonna hit.
Yes.
Um, and there have been like some times where I'm like trying to put a breakpoint in there, and like all the lines around where I'm like trying to actually put a breakpoint all have that like no entry sign, and then like sometimes I'll have to go like way up or like write in
Yeah.
some like BS line to like have it go. So does that like should this fix here
Yes.
hopefully give me like better breakpoints
Yeah.
on those lines?
Because effectively what happens is whenever you in Writer do a breakpoint, it will try to find out the actual sequence point, like where does that line actually map to in the IL code. And normally what we do in SourceGen is we sort of have to mark the SourceGen file out with a bunch of hashtag line statements, telling like, hey, we have like, because what we have to do in SourceGen is we have to take the user's original method and we create a new, like we just copy it over and then we replace the parts that they use system API or schedule and iJob entities, stuff like that. But that also means that the line counts might have changed, or like there's some discrepancy now between the original source material and what we wrote, and so we just have to make sure that we are emitting a like the original source file location along with the line number for that given line, and so we sort
Right.
of map everything back. And so when you actually go ahead and put down a breakpoint, it then maps to the sequence points in the source generated file instead of the actual source code that the user wrote, because the source code that the user wrote is not what actually gets run. It's the source code that we wrote that gets run. But the user would still imagine that they can, put a breakpoint in their code for obvious reasons. And so the thing that was actually broken in this particular case was as soon as you put a comment, just any comment, it just would get the wrong offset. And so it would start counting wrong, and so everything else would be offset. And that's also what makes these breakpoint errors particularly annoying. Is as soon as the count is off, you just like everything is off.
Right.
And so you might actually notice that as soon as you then have a new method and you haven't added any comments, then it would be perfectly fine in that method, because it starts the counting all over for that particular method.
And actually, I just wanted to say on this ITR, you should just have not had any comments in your code. Duh. Well, joke's on you.
Closest user error.
When I was creating my asset, basically like 50% of my code is comments because I'm doing the whole like API generation stuff in here. So there's comments everywhere.
Damn.
So, yeah. Well, hopefully that's fixed now. Okay, let me get this back. Okay, no longer crashes the editor or gives random errors when serializing components with collections of entities, like unsafe hash sets on them. Also when using such components in ECBs. It's exciting. Fix subscene deserialization error when switching scenes during async loading. Also good. And we have fixed a warning displayed when dealing with entity prefab reference. And Turtle gets a little shout out in there. I saw, I think someone mentioned it in the Discord, and Turtle was like, yeah, cool. But I know I've also had like other more meaningful things that have gotten fixes in the changelog before. But yeah, shout out Turtle.
I mean, yeah. I guess it just sort of depends on what mood whoever wrote the PR is in. So
I think you had told me that I had like you gave me like a little half shout out in one of them before.
Probably.
So yeah, anything else on that before we talk about the IM hex stuff?
I think we can just talk about the hex stuff now.
Sweet. So yeah, the new feature IM hex pattern files can now be generated by adding the Unity dots IM hex script defined to your project. These files can help you read binary data generated by the entity's system while baking. So yeah, this is awesome. And actually, the way that I was going to introduce this is because I'm actually using IM hex to um, inspect the save data for my game.survivors. And so I thought it would be like a good way to just kind of intro this topic, and then Danny can go a little bit more deeper into the entity specific stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta
I
go ahead.
mean, it also might make sense to talk about what IM hex is to
Yeah,
begin
yeah,
with.
yeah. I'm just gonna pull it up here. I have to like change my display scaling because I have
Right.
like my display zoomed in, and IM hex looks terrible with this display scaling. So give me one sec. And we have this, and okay, I think this is gonna look good.
Oh, in the meantime, I can answer some of the questions in chat.
Yeah, if there's anyone that you want to hit there.
How many lines of ID code did I change? Actually, the fix was very short. It was like, I don't know, like a 10, 20 line fix, something like that. Most of the time was spent debugging it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like most of the time it's just like figuring out what the issue is and getting to the root of the problem, right?
Yep, exactly. Especially because it's an error that is like, you are now off by n number and it's constantly just off by n number. So when did it start being that?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's all. Otherwise, people can yell in chat and then we'll try to pick them up.
Sounds good. So yeah, this is IM hex. It is basically a binary file editor. So this is what I'm kind of using to inspect my save data for my game.survivor. So I'm just saving it in this player save.bin. So it literally is just taking all of the, and actually I can probably just pull up the actual code here. So where this is happening. So yeah, I'm kind of like defining, actually, we should probably zoom in a little bit here. So like up at the top, this is kind of where I'm defining my persistent data struct. So you see there's like a version, number of coins, enemies defeated, which characters you've unlocked, what you set the volume level to, everything like that, what language you're using. So it's pretty basic stuff. Like it's a pretty simple save data because like I don't give players like the ability to like save in the middle of a game and then like pick that up later because the runs are pretty short. So it's more of like tracking kind of like the high level things there. And then so yeah, all I'm doing is I have a save persistent game data. And so I'm just using like a binary writer on this file stream to just write the individual bytes to this stream. And then when that's done, I can just kind of like save that out to a file there. And then so yeah, we get this binary file, and you can see like this is the actual contents of the file here. It's just a bunch of like hexadecimal things that it's kind of listed out as right here. And so yeah, the cool thing about IM hex is it kind of allows you to like say, if you want to like highlight a section, you can kind of like use this data inspector to see what those bytes translate to in different data types. So you can see that, if it's set to like an int 32, the value is 3. Well, I mean, pretty much all integers, this value is going to be 3 here. And then if you're, like using a floating point number, like this is what it would be in here. If you're using an ASCII character, so it kind of like shows all these different things here. And there's this cool like little pattern inspector, and we'll be getting into that in a second. But before I had like figured out about this pattern editor, like I was like previously like counting the bytes to like figure out if I needed to like make some modifications to my save data file to like test things out. I was like counting through the bytes, and then I would like highlight a little section, and then like manually change this to be the correct value. So the pattern editor, you can see what this is doing is it's kind of giving me like different colors of these little sections. And you see that like if I highlight or if I put my mouse over the section, so you see like the first 4 bytes here is a signed 32-bit integer for persistent game data version. The idea behind this is like, if I wanted to ever update the schema of my save file later on, I could increment this to like a new number, and then like that would trigger some logic in my code to like update the player's save data file to the new version schema, basically. So I wanted that to be like the first, couple bytes there. And then, yeah, so we get into kind of the, current coin count, enemies defeated, time survived, all that stuff. And so the way that I actually created this pattern is with this little pattern editor tab here. And you can pretty much just like copy paste over the like the struct here of my save data. So like I just pretty much like took this persistent game data struct, copied it over, and put it into this pattern editor. Then did have to like make some tweaks here. So like instead of calling it an integer, you use S32 for signed 32-bit integer. And then you can just kind of keep the same names for, all of your different variables. And then, so the idea here, so like here's the like save data. And then above here, I'm kind of like defining some specific things for, like I have an enum for what language you're using, a bit field for the weapon evolutions you've unlocked, another bit field for the characters you've unlocked, one for the stages. And then you can kind of like use these custom types that you've defined to be like part of your persistent save data here. So from that, this again kind of gives you all these, little different colors and things. And it also has this whole, pattern data down below here. So I can see like one thing that I was testing around with is when I was setting up achievements for my game, I have like achievements to get like, collect, a certain amount of coins, or I think it was like 100,000 enemies defeated, right? So I could come over here and then I could actually just modify my save data. So I could just like double click on this and say, all right, let me make this like, 99,999 enemies defeated. And then I could save this, load up my game. Actually, that didn't stick. So let me see. 99999, hit enter. And then so now I could load up my game with this save data and then test to see, when I kill an enemy, do I get that achievement to pop up? So this is like, yeah, a cool way to do that. If I want to like unlock different stages, then I could say, come in here and say, oh, the Venus stage should be unlocked as well. And so you can see that, we have the Moon, Mars, and Venus all unlocked. So it's just a really cool way to kind of like inspect and be able to play around with my save data. So yeah, Danny, what do you think of that? Do you have any questions or comments, concerns?
No, I mean, this is the part I love about ARMHEX, is just like being able to actually view a file that is very obtuse by every regard. Like, because binary files are very hard to read.
Yeah.
Like there's no information. So you sort of need something else to sidecar to actually be able to understand, oh, this is what's actually in the file. This is what it's telling me. So no, I think this is a good, simple introduction to it. Also, I didn't know about the bit field part, and I definitely need to add support for that. That is pretty cool. Because like, imagine if you wrote a enum and you added the system flags attribute to it, and we would actually use that inside. That would be nice.
Yeah, that's basically what this is doing. So
yeah, exactly. So I need to add that. That and buffer support. Currently, there's no buffer support. The thing I'm gonna talk about. Also, when we go to switch over to that, I hope you have a project, because for some reason my installation of Unity is not working. Quite ironic for me, but
let me see. I don't know if here. Let me close this. I don't know if
otherwise
this
we
is
can
on the
probably
latest
improvise
version
a
of.
fake project. We just need entities.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one with the latest entities version. Let's see. What could I use here? All right. Well, you guys are going to see this eventually. These are for the real ones. I've been working on a fun little project here, so we can maybe give people a little sneak preview on that.
Oh, teasing.
I might have to just update the entities version, but yeah. In the meantime, anything you want to introduce on IM Hex for Unity?
I mean, sure. So, like, at some point, I got a ticket saying, "Hey, there's a non-deterministic situation going on inside of the subscene. Why is this being why is this not deterministic? Why is it making a new thing every time?" And so I had to look at that, and it was very hard to diagnose, because all I had was just binary files, and I could see a diff view of, this is the specific part of the binary file that's changing. What the fuck is going on? I don't know. So at that point, I was a little stuck for a moment, and then I was like, okay, maybe I can just write a thing that will help me figure out what's in these files. So that's what I did here. Effectively, what it's just doing is, as soon as we have something called the binary writer, and the binary writer is what actually goes and writes your subscenes down and serializes it. And so when we have the binary writer, I just make sure that we also have this thing called an IM Hex pattern writer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically just lets us have every location where we do a write, we also say what we are writing as a little name. And that sort of helps us mark out everything. And then there's a version of that will say how many elements and then a name. So basically giving variable names throughout the entire thing. And then also it can write out custom types. So you you pass in a type, and it will use a reflection, and then follow that type down, and then actually write it out into the pattern file. So it will convert your C# type into your pattern file instead.
Nice.
And a lot of it is very basic, because it was just originally it was made to solve this particular case. I just wanted to try it out, and then a coworker of mine actually took it and landed it. So now we can also use it in customer projects a lot easier than if it wasn't landed. So even though it's not quite fully working with everything, buffer elements, buffers are stored very interestingly in scene files, because the way that buffers are stored in scene files is that you have the entire scene file. In the start of it, there's a header, effectively explaining a bunch of information about the file, and the sort of semantics you can expect from the rest of the file. And then there's a bunch of chunk parts of it that is the actual chunks, just as you would expect. So it's just raw chunk memory. And then at the end of it, there's a bunch of appended data, effectively. So it's just saying there's going to be this much data now, and then it puts all the data, and then there's going to be this much data, and then it puts all the data. Right now, it will only tell you, hey, there's this much data, and then just a raw buffer there. But the thing is, what these are is all of the data that you can't just put into the chunk directly. So for instance, the way a buffer works in ECS is that it, for small element sizes, can be stored directly in the chunk.
Right.
But as soon as you expand outside of the chunk, or you like when you use the internal buffer capacity, it will try to
Well,
put
yeah,
that in the chunk.
and also isn't like by default the internal buffer capacity just set to 0 anyways?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it's
we
just
changed that to
always
0.
outside the chunk. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, correct. Though I think the attribute still works from what I remember.
Yeah.
You can still put things in the chunk.
Yeah.
But in any case, when it's not in the chunk, it's obviously also not stored in the serialized chunks file, like as part of the chunk. Instead, it's just storing what is effectively a pointer inside the serialized file to the actual part of the serialized file where the buffer is, which is this bottom after all the chunks have been written section. So yeah, no, and but the nice thing is, it should be easy to support this. I just need to do it because the way that it works inside of ARM-Hex is that ARM-Hex does have pointer support, and it's just a pointer inside your binary file, and so you can very easily have a pointer point to a separate part of the file, and then it will point you there, and then I will just need to say, hey, this thing that you wrote down here in this part of the file is actually a bunch of prefab or like children or whatever. I don't think we actually write children, but you get the point. Like any sort of buffer elements you wrote.
Sweet. So yeah, this is basically working on like the entities scene files, right?
Try saying that again.
So this is like basically allowing you to inspect the entities scene files, correct?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, I got this guy all updated here. So what shall we do? I guess just
Awesome.
go to the scripting defines and
yes.
put one in.
The first part is just adding the scripting define.
And actually, I'll just go back over to this. Get this. Okay, so that is the unity.im hex. So does this just like immediately generate it, or like do I have to like do something else to trigger the generation of the pattern file?
So just reload your subscene.
Okay, it is still just compiling after adding that scripting define there. So we'll wait approximately 30 minutes.
Now the question is whether or not it's going to tell you the log of where that file is. Otherwise, we have to open the source code and look, because I don't remember exactly where the file is, but I know where we can find the place where it should be.
Okay. Does it have like a name that I could like easily search for with like everything search?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's
just like a bunch of garbled numbers or something.
Yeah, it's a GUID. It just has the name of the GUID, and it's a very long GUID. So no.
All right, our favorite segment of the Hot Path show, reloading domain.
Yeah. Is this where we reenact the what's it called? YouTube short?
Yeah, right.
My computer so slow?
Make a better engine, my dude.
I guess I can answer some questions.
Sweet.
So to this question from Chad, I have no idea. I don't work with the physics. I work with the physics team. I don't work on the physics. So
we expose PhysX height field collider used by Unity terrain.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably do it yourself, but probably not. I do not have anything to hint about the replacing of aspects, unfortunately. Right now, it is being obsoleted, and we don't want people to use aspects anymore. and hopefully in the future we will look at this problem again. But right now we haven't.
Actually, so yeah, I just saw this. The current ECS DOS tutorial starting from scratch and up, because each time I look at it, it's radically changed. Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out the survivors tutorial that I put up earlier this year. It kind of is like a simple version of my full dot survivors project, and yeah, it shows pretty much all the latest and greatest. Yeah, there hasn't been any like major ECS changes since that one is out there. So yeah, would highly
you can use
recommend
that. And if you want a quick high level overview, I will also have to point you to the connecting the dots talk at Unite.
Yeah,
from
and
last
you
year.
you do have the sample project for that one up as well, so it's a
Exactly.
good reference for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I do see in here, didn't even have to check on anything in the subscene, but I see created a .hexpat file from the recent bake located at yada yada yada. So is that what I'm looking for?
Yes. Now go through and look at each of those names for the path. I want to make sure that it's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, so dot. Here, let me just do a little display scaling here again. So this is, yeah, look at it, dot library generated IM hex, yada, 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 dot entities hexpat, entity header hexpat, weak asset refs, dependencies, and global usage.
Yeah, I think it is the top one.
Dot entities, yeah, because that would be the entity scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and find that.
I think before you find that, you might also have to find the serialized scene.
Entity scene file.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Remind me where the entity scenes are. Is it in library?
So if you go to it, I mean, it should be in the assets folder in streaming something or scene dependencies or like
scene dependency cache.
I think so. Maybe.
So this is dot scene with build settings.
It's
I knew where this was at one point. There's build cache. No, I don't think that's it. Entity scene bundles, content archives. I don't have to make a build of the project, do I?
That depends on if the thing has been turned on now that the define is there or not. So I think if you open up the source code, could you look for where the define is used, and then we can just sort of figure that out.
Okay, so what am I looking for?
Just look for all usages of the define, the amhex define.
Subscene importer, IMHEX pattern entity scene binary writer, binary serialization, serialized tests, any of those?
I think maybe the binary serialization.cs. Not that one.
Entities, graphics, performance.
Oh, that's the CS brush.
So that one, yeah.
No, none of the CS brushes.
Oh.
Because that's just saying that it's in that CS brushes.
Oh, gotcha.
If you just say look for more at the bottom there, or actually just open it as like open it in the window.
I think it's still doing things down here.
Yeah. Because the thing is, when I did this, I just enabled so it always just emits the scene files to a specified path.
Okay.
So
there's potentially another scripting defined that I might need to add in.
Or we didn't add that, and then you just need to make a build.
Here, I'll just get a build running. I think the build should be pretty quick. Right, because then, yeah, it's in the project's data folder, streaming assets, entity scenes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then am I going to be opening this entities scene in IMHex and then dumping that pattern file into the pattern editor, basically?
Correct.
Sweet.
Now the big question is whether it will work for your subscene. It was specifically made for a customer subscene. And it should work on most basic projects at the very least. But it is definitely not bug free. I guess in the meantime we can, if it has loaded, we can. Oh, you can also do that.
Was that?
I mean, we can maybe look at the source code, like what's it doing, like how it actually works. Are things lagging?
Yeah, we can do that. Anywhere in particular you want me to go?
Yeah.
The
hex
right
pattern.
now. Oh.
Yeah, the hex pattern entity scene binary writer. That file.
I think the build's finishing up because we're a little choppy right now.
Right. Yeah. This is the big thing that makes everything work. Because it's put on every single binary writer that we have. And so we effectively just say, hey, create the binary, the hex pattern entity scene binary writer, which is our little appendage info for the pattern file. We give it some sort of file name, maybe an entity manager, so that we can type down all of the types for that entity manager. And then if you scroll down a little, we try to write out every single. We basically create a map of here is the stable type hash. Emit from that the type name of that. So that's what we get here, and we make sure that we only get the types that are actually in the entity manager that you're serializing, so you don't actually put out all the types in the type manager because there's quite a lot of types in the type manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and scroll down a little more. This is just the header. And okay, so here line 100 is the interesting one. So if you look at a usage of that, it's probably easiest to understand.
So is that one
like from
good?
.serialization.cs, for example.
Is that a good one?
Let's maybe one of the go down a little more. Maybe serialization utility. Yeah, chunk data, sure.
That one that I'm on, or
yeah.
this one?
Yeah,
chunk
sure.
data.
Yeah. So at this line here, we effectively say, hey, here at w.position, so at the current writer's position, we are writing chunk data, and it is going to be of size chunk. So and then it's type byte. So it's going to write a bunch of bytes, and how many bytes is it going to write? It's going to write chunk size bytes, and then it adds a little comment on the side, which is what you see the archetype stores in number of types. So we're going to see that inside of the pattern file for this particular part of the writer, because what you see in the next line is that w.write bytes is it actually goes ahead and writes the chunk.
Okay, build just finished here, so let's fire this up. File. Okay, so here is my entity scene. As you can see, there's a lot more data than my saved data.
Yes. And then if you go and look at, if you open up the editor again, it should have also told you in the logs where it put the hex pad.
That is archive header info.
I mean, maybe you can just look in the folder and see if there's any
Just in the
file
library generated IM hex.
Yeah.
Library generated IM hex. Okay, and then so I'm basically looking for this same name as this entities file, right? 21C entity header. So yeah, the only one starting with 21C is the entities header file, but I do have that previously generated that 90A7 entities one.
Try that one.
Okay. What would be the best way to actually bring it in here?
I think if you just load the file, it will know that that's a hex pattern file.
So I can just say open file.
Yeah.
And then go to here. And that is this one. Okay. No, this just opened it as a new dealio.
It's a good question.
Open other.
Import, maybe?
Pattern file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then browse.
Okay. So we have a lot of stuff in the pattern here. And yeah, I see there's some of the Rukonka things. There's some of my custom things, some entities things. Cool. What should we look at?
That's a good question. Oh my god, it is a chunky one. This one.
That's a lot of the Rukanka stuff, I think.
Yep, yep. I mean, I guess what's interesting is to go down to the chunk view.
In the pattern editor and the pattern data, where am I?
Just in the
looking?
binary data, just like scroll down, you'll probably very quickly.
So in this here?
Yeah. And then some point.
Oh, okay. So there's some blob asset stuff. I mean, this is huge. This file is huge.
Yes. So
chunk data. Chunk data 7. Okay. So this yeah looks like it's a pretty empty chunk, basically. Like there might be, there's probably like a little bit of data at the beginning. So there's like, oh, manual seed. Okay. All right. So yeah, here's some of like the, yeah, manual, like random seed stuff that I was doing there. Spawn position. Index version. Oh yeah, so there's probably an entity index and version.
Yep.
Okay, this is cool.
So now you can actually see what's in the chunk file.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't before.
X, Y, Z, W. Yeah, this is really cool. It's funny because there's just like so much empty space because like this is probably a super sparse one.
And this is what I was talking about. We haven't marked everything, so like the blob asset stuff is just blob asset. So you don't know actually what's in that blob asset. It's only really the chunk data that we've been marking.
Enable bits for archetype. That's cool. So yeah, what kinds of things have you been using this all for?
So the thing that it was made for was like to uncover why your build is not deterministic, or it's like because when you're baking, and it causes something to be saved in the scene. Let's say you had a baker and it just like created a component with a random number on it. Obviously, that is going to create a non-deterministic build because each time it's going to create a new number, right? If the random seed was time or something.
Yeah.
That also means that now, how do you track this down? If you didn't just like create this manually, but like you have a bigger project, how do you actually track down the root cause of this? Like what component is actually the component that is causing this problem to occur in the first place? Well, okay, what you can do is you can like you write down one scene file and then you re-trigger baking and you write down another scene file. And when you do that, you can then open up the binary differ that ArmHex has, and you can look at the actual diff between the two, and it will very quickly tell you, here is the section of memory inside the scene file that is a problem that changes every time. And some of it you might expect. I think there's like a part where we write down the current date or something weird like that.
Sure.
And those you can expect. But then there is the like a section where you're like, this shouldn't have changed here. Let me go and look what that actually was that changed. And then that's why you would want to use the pattern file, because otherwise you wouldn't know. You would just know that that's random memory that's changing. But here you would know, oh, it's this particular component. And because you know it's that particular component, you can then start to look at, okay, what kind of baking is using that component? Who is changing that particular value on that component? That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And having these like little labels here, you can actually specifically see Yeah, something that's changed. I wonder if
Also, if you try pressing one of them, I think you should also be able to understand which, like, yeah,
like
and then
click
you
on
fold
this or
out
something.
in the pattern data, and then fold out.
One byte, one byte, one byte, one byte, one byte, one byte, one byte.
Oh, is this just written as byte? That's terrible. Should be using the
Let me
proper
see if
types.
there's like something better I could. And so to do that comparison, you just like, is it just you have to like open up another
So
file and
yeah, you just open up two files. So you have two files as tabs inside of here, and then if you go to view, there's a diff something diffing.
diffing?
Yeah, if you press that, then you can see you can select files that you currently have open. Like those two drop downs are just the files
Okay.
you currently have
Okay.
open, and then you do the diff.
So maybe actually just as a way to demonstrate this, I can show like one of my other player save data ones, and so we can compare this one with this one. And yeah, we can see all the changes here. I suppose we would probably want this pattern as well, though. All right.
Then you run it. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
you ran the pattern file. Or maybe it doesn't work in the diffing view. I don't entirely recall. I just looked at the part of memory and then
Oh,
because
okay.
you get the
So you
addresses
basically,
and
see the
then
memory
you
address, and then you can go to
the proper
whatever
view.
one that is. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. This is cool. It's something that I feel like I wouldn't use super often, but like the times that I would need it, it's like super cool that I have that.
Yeah, it's more of it comes in clutch when you actually need it. Especially for like big projects, it's extremely useful because, like, say you were baking like an entire environment and you don't want it to rebake every single time that you're just changing a random other prefab. Um, this is where normally live baking would be good enough to say, hey, let's not rebake everything. But if it's not deterministic, then it can't understand that. And so you would need to diagnose what is actually going on, and how to do that. Well, you can try to use this tool.
Have you ever messed around with like changing some data in the like entities file and then like running the game after you had changed it?
I have not, but I never realized. Yeah, you could totally do that. That would totally work.
Yeah, I feel like you could kind of like hack the game that way.
That's so fun. Like, imagine having the hex pattern files of some popular games like V Rising or
Yeah,
Core
right.
Keeper. Or, I don't know. It'd be sort of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's good that the pattern files aren't like shipped in the build file.
Yep. Yeah. No, they're very much debugging. I mean, I guess it's the same with Burst. You get a bunch of extra files with Burst.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it specifically creates a folder called "Do Not Ship."
Yeah, I love that one. Backup, but do not ship.
Yep.
Cool. Anything else you want to show off on these?
No, I'm a little sad that like when you get the X value, it should actually show you the full type name. I think actually, next time you see a value, try holding Shift down or something, Shift or Control, or maybe the Alt key.
This
There
guy
you go.
here.
Yeah, if you hold down the Alt key, entity, then it actually shows it. The version is from an entity.version.
Okay.
And so what you should be seeing there is the entity index.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
So like, what is the W value there? Oh, that's the local
Yes,
to world.
local to world. Okay. I'm gonna find some of those other ones that I had seen that were some of like my own custom types. I suppose I could like maybe find it in here.
And so just to recap on what we actually did to enable this, I think we ended up just having to create a build in order to find the scene file, and then the pattern file was the one from rebaking just by like reopening the subscene. That would be the same for the one you're serializing.
And yes, Rukonka Animation says Rukonka Animation. Yes, I am using it in this project, and it has been going well. Yeah, this is really interesting.
Yeah, and also if you look at the pattern file itself,
Yeah.
Something you'll notice is it has all the different type hashes with the names, right? But then
So like this here.
yeah, exactly. But then what it also has, if you scroll down a lot, because a lot of this is probably not that interesting. Yeah, like here, we create a type called scene section, and a scene section is of has a Unity entities hash 128, and then that type was created earlier. And it's because when we go and serialize like using reflection, we just make sure to like create a little bit of a stack and then go through it and create it in that order. Or actually a queue, because we need to make sure that whatever field we encounter first, if we haven't already typed down that type, we make sure to type it first before we create the thing that we're currently looking at. But it means that we're pretty much writing down every single type inside of that file. Like full, like the quaternion is there, a local transform, probably a bunch of Rukanga's types are in that file. You can see your zombie data and an
Yep.
enum.
What's that? Oh yeah, yeah.
The enum is there.
Yep. Yeah, I like how this is all specifically defined. So then I got nice friendly names here that I can look into.
But yeah,
all the physics
that's
stuff. Cool. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for putting that in and sharing
of course
a little bit about it. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to play around with that. Okay. That's kind of like mostly what I had to talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up at all?
I don't know. I know next week there's gonna be a little bit of a discussion post that has some stuff on entities. So be on the lookout for that, I suppose. I can give a slight teaser, which is that obviously we're, as some have known, aspect and entities for each is going away. So try to not use that in the future.
Cool. All right. Well, are you getting a Gabe cube?
A what cube?
A Gabe cube.
Oh right. Oh, I see. Yeah, no.
The Steam machine.
The Steam machine. I don't know. That very much depends on the pricing, I feel like. Because if it is actually like a proper competitive pricing, then probably. I'm currently thinking of getting a proper machine to play some games on.
Yeah, just
like
in
PC
my
games.
connected to my TV. I just have like an old laptop that I'm using to just kind of like do just like stream video and like do some remote play, web browsing and stuff. And so I think replacing that with something that has like an actual GPU and stuff, and it would be good.
Yeah.
So yeah. When is Entities 7.0? That's probably decades away.
Yeah.
See, entities for each is going away, but the warnings of GameObject.camera and .rigidBody are still there.
Yeah. Actually, on a related note, all of the like entity ID stuff is also starting to like get a lot further. So if you're using the latest, I don't know if it's a beta. What's the latest alpha beta sort of release right now?
6.4.
Is 6.4 already out?
I think it's in like the pre-early whatever phase. There you go.
Yeah, 6.4 A. Yeah.
A5.
So if you actually look at that version, there's a lot of things that has been deprecated, and there's gonna be more. Get instance ID is gonna actually be obsolete, like proper obsolete.
6.4 has a lot of warnings. It's a pain. Oof.
Yep. If you're using anything remotely related to an instance ID, you're in a world of pain for 6.4. Because 6.4 has pretty much all of those changes. Except for one that our team is currently in the midst of fixing, and then it's going to 6.4. So be on the lookout for that, which is the implicit cast of int to entity ID. That is going to go in 6.4. Unless things go in trouble, but probably not. We're very close to having done that.
Let's see. Been doing some Quest development. Yeah, I got the Quest 3 back here. Been doing some contract projects with that, and yeah, I actually recently picked that up. I was pretty impressed with it. It's a cool little headset, and not like super crazy expensive either. But yeah. So yeah, I suppose we can go ahead and wrap that up here. So thanks everyone for joining us for this episode of the Hot Path Show. Lots of cool dots stuff to play around with. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. Danny, any parting words for the people?
I mean, obviously, I do want to specify that dots is not going anywhere. We're still working on it. It's still very much a thing because I know that some people are concerned. And yeah, no, I think we're all excited to see what we're gonna do next. Well, I know, but
entities for all. Yeah, hopefully, either. So yeah, either entities for all releases tomorrow, and we'll do an episode of the Hot Path Show. Don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, we'll probably do some more episodes before that. It sounds like that might still be a little ways away, but yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your night if you're going to be there. And yeah, if there's any like big Unite announcements, I'll be for sure doing something. Yeah, I know it's great having this, as a weekly podcast. It's been a good couple months since we've done the last one of these, so hopefully it won't be that long before the next one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, take care, everybody, and see you soon.